And where down we go, oh, 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 where down we go, oh, oh, say where down we go, oh, 'cause say we run you down, down to your car, oh, way down we go.
Welcome to Bird Live, your Tuesday source for everything AI tech, market moves, and the strategies that grow your pockets. From the latest innovations in artificial intelligence to stocks on the move, we break it all down.
Bird Live, y'all. Bird Live, y'all. Bird Live. Welcome to the Bird Live Show, where we bird through conversation, try to ask out conversations. Today is Tuesday, where we go over AI technologies in the stock market. This is one of my favorite days that I have put together. I am steady working on it. It's not perfection, but I do want to go to stock market and AI technology and to help my group, my channel, build money in their pockets for everyday living and get into stock market. And this channel, this today is supposed to do stock market and AI, like I just said, also get us into economical differences for us to make better choices in today's society. That is my plans for Tuesdays and what I want to do on this channel. On these days, Mondays, we go over weed and marijuana. Today is just this. I want to stay in tune. I feel like I'm getting my own self out distractions. So without a further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the stock market. And self-building AI jobs cuts more AI roots around. Now, this is a CN special. Everybody's been looking somewhat into this AI technology, what it does. I know a lot of us still are using Geminis and Grok for our informational resources and stuff like that. So with that, I want to go over this one just to get us a brighter idea.
Every new happens if humans wind up becoming unnecessary for the upgrade. That could be the future, according to the co-founder of Anthropic. Jack Clark says that there's a 60+% chance that that could happen soon, telling Axios, quote, "My prediction is by the end of 2028, it's more likely than not that we have an AI system where you would be able to say to it, make a better version of yourself, and it just goes off and does that completely autonomously." It's a process known as recursive self-improvement, and it requires a lot of questions about the role of humans in the world of AI. And his Substack, Clark warns, quote, "If that happens, we will cross a Rubicon into nearly impossible to forecast future." Let's discuss this with Lance Ulanoff. He's the editor-at-large for Tech Radar. Lance, thanks so much for being with us. I mean, how effective right now is AI at training itself?
It's not necessarily, I mean, it certainly can identify things. You know, as we know, AI is quite good at coding. We do something called vibe coding, where basically people who aren't wants, and then it basically spits out a program. So it's getting really, really good at that. But the complexity of the system itself is a big question.
The big question that they're trying to answer, and do we understand, is AI one day forever is going to be running by itself and don't need our help? Basically, tell AI to run my everyday living and it's gonna just run it naturally without our help or consent. You think that's gonna happen? If that's gonna happen, I'm under the feeling that we're nowhere near that time and age and era. Me personally, I could be wrong. Okay, I really could be wrong, but I don't think we're around that era. Let's really get deeper into what they're going to say for the technology and how we use it today.
Mark about whether or not it can go in there and identify strengths and weaknesses, leave the strengths in place, fix the weaknesses, and not do something that we didn't want it to do. You know, taking humans out of this loop is certainly not something anyone really wants. But I will remind you that everything's moving so fast that we could suddenly be at a place where it is able to do that. And of course, somebody tries it out, and then we have to be concerned about it being used in the real world.
So what are the risks? I mean, to use the example of Terminator, how close can it get to like Skynet, where it just decides, hey, the easiest way to fix the problem is to go on a war against humanity?
Well, you know, look, AI doesn't have an intent, right? It doesn't have a mind of its own, really. It's doing things based on what should happen next. That's kind of how AI works, how the large language models work. You know, what is the next logical thing? So it is unlikely, but not impossible for it to make bad choices. As we've seen when we have conversations with AI, sometimes it tells you something, you're like, really, that's what I should do? And then sort of like we back up and it goes to a different place. And there are more and more guardrails you'll see in AI to prevent that from happening. So
this reminds me of a story that was brought up a while back when I first started covering this AI situation and stuff like that. It really does remind me of this story that AI is not all what it's cracked up to be, for the simple fact that we don't know. We can only assume. We've seen the movie, we've seen the television. Obviously, Terminator is a big reason why AI is getting pushed. Even though when Terminator was out, AI was still in the process and getting worked on and getting used. So it was nothing new. It's just the fact now that it's more in reality, more realistic. We have to look at the circumstances and the situations like, is this suitable for our audience? And the mistakes that it makes, are these big mistakes? Are these life risk mistakes? We do have to understand the difference. We want our AI program to understand the difference, because yet again, go back to the story that I ran, when it comes to religions and finding a friend and people that are depressed, that looks for AI to be a friend, that is a issue, there's problems, and there are unfortunately depths behind that story that this man is presenting that they're not going to talk about on the news.
The risks of humans being taken out of the loop is, to me, quite large. Not necessarily a looming threat this year or even next year, but possibly the year after that, or sooner, because things move so quickly. One thing I will point out is when I was watching a robot factory recently, the Neobot, where they were building Neobots, they had some of the Neobot robots involved in building themselves. So in a way, it's already happening, and that's happening because of AI. So the question is, and this is why I appreciate Anthropic Institute, is at least they're having the conversation. How do we prevent this? How do we get ahead of this? What do we do in the meantime?
Lance, you gave me some relief, and then you started talking about robots building themselves after I referenced Terminator. Earlier this week, onto another question.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. We learned that Google, Microsoft, and xAI were going to be sharing some of the unreleased early versions of their AI with the government in an effort to combat cybersecurity threats. How important is it going to be for these tech giants to work alongside the federal government? Because I imagine that at some point, AI will need to be regulated.
Yeah, well, there's the big problem. We still don't have a countrywide regulation. What we have is we're starting to see state by state things, but then sort of the Trump administration is kind of trying to insert itself in here. I do appreciate the idea after Anthropic and Mythos, which was the model.
See, this is the thing, and this is where I really don't know. I need more research, just as people that's watching my show, we need more research. Do we want AI regulated through the government, or do you want state regulated where we have a little bit more control? And I really have a funny feeling that people that are not they're not educated in politics don't get the gist that, hey, when we have control over it, it's state ran. When we don't have control over it, it's federally ran. And I really, really think that needs to be very, very looked at, much improved looked at, to understand the importance of what's the difference between us regulating something and the feds regulating something. In this situation, AI, he's not going to say AI is causing problems. I'm going to sit on my podcast and say that AI is already causing problems. Okay? It is. AI is already causing problems. They're not very bold. They're not big. There are been covered. There are stories I heard. There are reports I heard. I will cover them on the show. I might have to go back over some shows, go a little deeper into definition of them. But there are things happening out here. Okay. Does not act like it's not. Okay. So, who has a lot more control if certain something happens? Do we want to say that we want the government, Trump administration, or the next administration running AI? And so therefore, if there's a problem with AI, if AI start doing things that we don't appreciate, or they start using AI, the government start using AI in a way that we don't appreciate, we have no say so, because we already gave the government full throttle. And we know the government's already using AI technology over something, but like the report in Seattle, y'all, I did a report in Seattle where the mayor cut off cameras, drones and cameras and things for the police officers to use to capture criminals. But if they're not allowed to capture criminals and the state is allowed to cut it off, like, no, we don't want that. Imagine another George Floyd incident where there was cameras available, but yet again, somebody chose not to because they felt like it was an invading of privacy when we're just trying to solve a case. Now, I know I went on a rant like that, but you really got to think about that. I deeply think about that when it comes to government regulated, state versus federal. It's a big, huge difference. And yes, I know the funding is different too when it comes to money. But yet again, state involved more regulates and more helps us, the consumers, us small people, get into big tech companies. Okay? We want a chance to get up in there.
That basically could find vulnerabilities in sort of any system, regardless of age, which scared everyone. So I appreciate that they're doing this, but we also want to make sure that they're not looking at this code for something other than threats. If they're making sure that it aligns with some principle or some political principle that they want. So I think it's a good first step, but we actually need real regulations that the American public can understand as they're using these tools, and they can start to have some confidence that they can trust them.
Brand new report on AI's impact on jobs. For the second month in a row, AI was the leading reason for layoffs. That was in April, according to a research firm. And it comes after Coinbase, the largest U.S. crypto exchange, said this week it was cutting 14% of its workforce, in part to optimize for the AI era. CNN tech editor Lisa Edechico is here with the latest on this. We're hearing this so often now.
Exactly. And that's why I've been speaking with business consultants to learn more about what's actually happening here. Is AI really capable of taking jobs? Is that really reflecting what's happening in the industry? And the answer is a little bit more nuanced. It's not that AI is swapping out actual individual employees. What's happening is it's taking on bits and pieces of different people's roles throughout an organization. And that's really
Okay, I'm gonna let her go, and then I got something to say.
Really spread out across an entire business. So it's not really a one-for-one swap. And that's why you hear, when we talk about AI and jobs, you hear a lot of rhetoric around upskilling, around rethinking jobs, around reimagining what a job looks like, because it's not that AI is taking over the entire duty of a specific person. And these companies now are having to think about what does a job look like when it's partially being done by AI and it's partially being done by a person. And the tech industry has really kind of been at the forefront of this shift because AI has gotten really good at coding, and those tools have advanced rapidly over the past year alone. So now you're seeing a lot of software engineering jobs kind of transition into this role where it's less about coding and more about high-level decision making and reviewing code and making judgment calls and looking at the design element of products that are being built. And that's a little bit of what was reflected in the X post from the CEO of Coinbase when he announced the layoffs earlier this week.
It's so interesting. When it's not a one-for-one swap, it makes it a little more complicated,
Exactly.
right, in terms of replacing those jobs if you want these human beings.
So I like how she says more of a nuance of what's taking over the jobs in the job industry. Okay, we can already say right now that there are jobs taken over in the fast food industry. Okay, so the fast food industry already been taken over, already got their already have their what am I looking for? Positions taken in certain areas. Fry machine, fry dropper. They got AI and they got a robot in there that drop the fries, push the timer up, fresh, no problem. Keep on a rotation. Now, robot versus AI. Do we still got to press a button for it to do it itself? Yes. Is it actually keeping track of sales and numbers and fries and make sure that you're not overdropping, underdropping? I guarantee an AI program is put in to do that. Okay. They also got flippers, AI robot that flip burgers. They actually got one on the strip that actually does both. It's a whole restaurant. It's still running right now as we speak. And so therefore, is it doing a job? It's doing a job. Is it taking away a position from people? Yes. Self-checkout line. Self-checkout line is basically, you can say computer, you can also say AI ran, you can say a combination of both. Is that taking away jobs away from people? You can also say yes. There's also other small reports where AI is taking accountability for your work ethic at work. Okay. PBD podcast, a couple of small tech has already covered this. I have to research and bring this up. I'm going to do a special audit where AI is taking accountability who works hard, who don't work hard at a workplace. And that's AI actually doing that. Okay. So when you want to say a nuance, I think you want to say, I think she should have just said yes and no. Yes, it's taking over, but it's not rapidly taking over. It's slowly taking over little small jobs that are tedious and tedious to where you could go do some other things. Now, at my job where I work at, AI fry dropper, yeah, that'd be awesome. That's just one less thing that I would have to take care of. I know that I can actually take an order, do some other things, take care of a little prep, and know that the fries are taken care of. You really gotta. I'm thinking of a small nuance when she said that of like fries, French fries. Yeah, I know when y'all go through the drive-through and that robot, hi, man, take your order. That's an AI program taking your order. That's another thing that is talked about in what she's saying too. So those are little things that she's not really want to recognize that I'm going to recognize for us, for the everyday people, to say that, yeah, this is happening.
To stay employed. Lisa Edichico, thanks. You do such great reporting on this. We appreciate it.
Is the United States losing the propaganda war to Iran?
I don't want to go into that. That's not what we hear today. I'm glad we covered them two reports. Them reports were very important to look at for his AI. Now, this hold on, y'all. Actually, this report is more important, and this report is all to do with AI jobs. So is Iran deploying AI content to mark Trump? We're gonna go over It's a Story, y'all. Yet again, these stories should be looked at through the minds of small average day people, because yet again, who else gonna look at them? They're overlooked, and then they come a big problem. I want to say that Burn Lives at least covered it over here. Stop
playing. Is the United States losing the propaganda war to Iran? Let's start with the most recent big exchange. This meme from the White House 2 days ago shows President Donald Trump holding Uno cards, and the text states, "I have all the cards." Now, unfortunately, if you've ever played Uno, the objective is to have no cards. Having all cards is a losing hand. So the Iranian consul general in India replied on X with a meme saying, "Yes, we have less cards, and his cards are draw 4, which is how you win Uno, forcing the other person to have all the cards." Since the start of the war, official Iranian government and embassy accounts, plus some regime and propaganda groups based in Iran, have been dropping a whole bunch of English language memes and AI generated videos all over the place. Trump allies might be concerned. Some of these posts are racking up millions of views, and they borrow from American culture and mock Trump. There's these viral videos from a group called Explosive Media that show AI generated animation in the style of the Lego movies, with world leaders caricatured as yellow bobbleheads, missiles as plastic bricks. The Iranian embassy in South Africa posted a 1980s style AI video of President Trump singing about a blockade in the Strait. Here's a post from the same embassy with the caption, "The way the United States closed the Strait of Hormuz," and it shows a guy accidentally welding his own head inside a railing. Here's another from the same embassy showing Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth as the so-called miserable pirates of the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian embassy in Thailand posted this Trump campaign poster saying Trump 2028 per gallon, $20.28 per gallon, mocking high gas.
Do AI help with memes? Yes. Are memes funny to get your point across? Yes. Are they hurtful? No. This part of AI right here is what I'm going to call, and we should call, petty news. Iran is going to put what they feel is reportable and resourceable, and America is going to put what they feel is credible and resourceful. Are we going to use AI to make it to perk it up, to make it a little bit funny? You got to understand, like, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, there are people out here who look at themselves as not funny. Or you got some people who look at themselves as very funny. And guess what? Now they have a way to express themselves a little bit more and a little bit better. Hell, I don't know what type of funny I am, but yet again, I feel like when I cover this stuff by myself, I'm not funny at all. So could I use AI to maybe help me out to get my point across a little bit better? I would use it, yeah. Is this right here funny to a Democrat when they see it? No. This is something that's called ridiculous. That my prices is $20.28 a gallon. Bought by Trump. I don't like it. Who wants to pay that much? Nobody wants to pay that much for gas prices at all, period, point blank. It's not funny. But yet again, do I think that you should be able to use AI for it? Yeah, who cares? I think just this propaganda, which my boy Kick-Ass Nick would say, Kick-Ass would say, this is a propaganda to just spark feelings into people for what reason? And yet again, this is where I get other people get mad at me like, Capiche, you have no feelings. No, I don't have no feelings because I don't care. This is a I don't care moment. Okay. I just want them to make that clear so nobody be like, oh, well, he said no, I don't like this. I wouldn't want nobody to pay this. I don't care about gas prices, to be honest with anybody. I don't care about gas prices. Do I wish they would drop for the average day person? Yes, I do. I don't want anybody to pay high gas prices. I think that's ridiculous. Is the gas prices high right now because of Trump administration? Yes. Do I think it needs to stop? Yes. Okay. So I'm just putting that out there for people who be thinking, all right? All right, let's get back into this.
Gas prices. Like, let's bring in Peter Pomerantsev. He's a senior fellow at the Johns Hopkins Agora Institute researching propaganda, disinformation, the impact of information warfare on politics. Peter, I hate to say it because the regime clearly are the bad guys, but they're not bad at this.
No, they've really been very, very cunning and very successful. I mean, we saw the Lego videos where the Iranians are using Lego videos to kind of do two things. They're cleansing their own image because no longer are they the mad mullahs of our narratives. They're now these cute Lego characters,
right?
While at the same time making Trump look small. So in one little move, you've changed how people perceive you. You've detoxified yourself. And at the same time, you've humiliated Trump. That's pretty canny.
So I do wonder, I mean, I know it's probably impossible to gauge like how effective one video is because, you know, we're not creatures, we're not brains in a vat, right? I mean, like, you know, we're experiencing everything all at once, but this seems like pretty effective compared to other stuff I've seen from other enemies of the United States, whether Hamas or the Russians or the Chinese. What do you make of it? First of all, who's making these videos? Are there just people in Iran?
Yeah, there appears to be, from the reporting that we know, a unit.
Somebody's good at making AI videos. Somebody went as far as using Lego. Now, Lego is probably going to pick up on this and say, hey, yo, we need to make a Iran and America Lego. Matter of fact, we just going to make the world. I believe this right here is a very good marketing plan. This is marketing at its best. This is marketing at its best. Whoever did it probably solidified them a job somewhere at the Legos. Hey, I need you to do ads and commercials and think of new Legos and new ways for us to come. Oh, sure. Sure. I got you. Yet again, y'all, this is AI. This is what they be. This is what once again, I'm sorry to say, this is bullshit news for the moment. This is a way that was a waste. Are we really tripping off an AI video? Oh God, they make fun of the president, so the president's got to be humiliated. And good job, all right, for letting the people know that how bad of our president of the United States of America is doing. I mean, basically, that's what that news coverage was saying. And if you agree with it, thumbs up for you. If you disagree with it, thumbs up for you. Was there really news credible and resourceable for us to understand? time to take out on CNN, who's supposed to be credible and reliable news, to understand that Iran is not going to be putting out the same news coverage as us. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to switch over to the stock market. I really should just have me a banner ready. Stop. What? That'll be cool. You know what? I do got some things that I just realized and learned that I'm gonna have to redo to make our experience a little bit more experience and have things set up and ready. I think that, yes, I'm seeing some things, y'all. I'm learning some stuff, and I'm ready to take the small trickling steps to make this show better. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to cover some stock. The stock market is dropping, pulling back norms, highs and lows. People are interested. People are getting in. People are out. If you're not in it, I'm telling you to get in it. I am a poor middle class person just like you. And I'm in the stock market now. I started this a while back. I had to take a small little break. Had to make some moves. As you see, I made a big move. Got my fiance with me, and we're building a family together and home and shows. I had to take certain breaks on certain things because I wanted full concentration when it comes to this department right here. This department right here is taking a type of concentration that I wanted to make sure it had my undivided concentration, because I'm not here to tell a person what to do. I'm just here to help show for the D class, F students, people who don't really care. That's what Burn Live said. For people that's not really into it, who like, oh man, all them smart people out there is all trying to tell us, here's somebody that's not smart, that understands it, learned it, understand it, and want to share the knowledge with you. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna start doing. Also, I do understand that I am gonna have to start really making real content, breaking down the small definitions of little words and things like that. I got a whole thing I'm finna put together. I'm just finna talk to my team and get together. But without further ado, let's get into this. Okay.
Theme looks similar to the internet, global crossing, data centers in the ocean. You know, there's a lot of analogies you can draw. That's great. I invite our viewers, especially our Schwab traders, go to the Thinkorswim platform, go look at the late 90s, go look at the charts then, and at least understand that it's very normal to get 5 to 10% swift mean reversion digestion type periods when you get these kind of extreme stretched rubber bands. So, Sam, if we get some kind of a 10% pullback to the 10-day simple moving average, God forbid, on the semiconductors, that would just be par for the course, totally normal. You know, we've talked about.
So we heard all of that, and y'all probably sitting up there like, I didn't understand nothing that guy just said at all. And I get it, and I totally get it. If we're not understanding what he said. But what he's saying is not too wild fetch to understand where you have big drops and big increases. I just seen this big increase too, actually on my stock market for the last couple of days. And I was like, dang, that's pretty good, actually. I'm just going to my stock just to make sure. So my numbers been looking good. I'm now actually $2 from my norm. I'm down $2. Okay. So, but I have been seeing that last same increase since I got in, and I'm up $5. Yeah, I'm up $5, $3, and stuff like that. So I've been seeing the same increase that y'all been seeing right here, but yet again, what he's basically saying that it's not normal to see a 5% decrease. That's normal. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's like it comes out of nowhere. Things that come out of nowhere in the stock market is normal. When prices drop, when people are selling, you know what I'm saying? Most people panic and look to sell their things too. And what it is to do in the stock market, when people sell, you must buy and stand firm. Get some good, strong, firm things like gold. Everybody is going to tell you to promote and invest into gold. That's definitely 100% a good thing to invest in. And other than that, when you take risks with small things like Netflix, taking a risk with that, taking a risk with Uber back in the day, when these companies were very, very small before they blew up, you know what I'm saying? I can't even pronounce this one company that's out here that's doing things that's probably have a slow marketing invested into them. Betting into these self-driven cars, we get you rich in the future too. It's just finding the self company that's gonna bring the chip into the new future that's gonna be successful. That's the hard part. Finding things of that nature is not gonna be easy. Okay.
Before, if you feel like you've had some really good gains here, there are ways to hedge. You could put on collars. You could even, with the volatility the way that it is, you could act in the semis that you could get, a large collar if you want to give you some flexibility for.
Which you increasing your wealth in stocks. What you want to do is you can spread your wealth, invest in other things, or you could invest more into what you got to give you more room, more flexibility. When people see flexibility, you got to think options. Flexibility is another word for option. Give you more options to do what you want to do. Give you a chance to get a bigger sellout if you have more invest into one big thing that's doing good. Okay. Like right now, I have a lot of different stock. If I convert my stock into one thing, which I gotta see, how can I put my stock up here? I'll get back to this.
These type of environments, and we'll see what happens, Sam, with the meeting with President Trump and with and the potential for bullish momentum to persist.
It's like
an ice cube in a volcano. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's kind of just like a blip, a drop in the bucket here. I mean, given the run-up we've seen in some of these names like Intel and Micron and SanDisk, you name it. What do you make of the market reaction to the CPI print this morning?
Well, the way that, so if you look at what's going on with the prices index within the ISMs that we've been getting over the past, several weeks here, if you look at CPI on a core basis, a little bit above expectations, you look at oil prices, obviously the market isn't too concerned. They're still focusing on the top half of the K. We've got the wealth effect with the stock market at all-time highs. So we haven't really seen the top half of the K bend or break.
All-time highs. That's the economy, y'all. That's what people are not looking at because, yet again, a lot of people don't invest, and I get it. But when they all-time highs mean a lot of people are investing, and that means a lot of money is moving throughout America's economy. I know your pockets may not reflect that. People may not see that. I just heard a report about Las Vegas numbers and the gambling and how these casinos are still pulling record number breaking sales on these gambling machines. And I had a person break it down to me, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I get it. You know what I'm saying? When you switching up your audience to get somebody to view your show and your content. I get it. All right. So listen to the keywords of all-time highs and what somebody is doing and how they are doing it.
We have seen it, though, in consumer discretionary over the past couple of weeks. They've rolled over. So there's some creep into the potential for the consumer to get dinged here. But the market seems to think or feel, based on the price action, that we're still going to get a resolution at some point with Iran. Oil prices might be elevated, but it's not going to affect the economy enough to offset this basically CapEx boom that continues to go on throughout the economy because of AI. So I think for right now, the market's still okay, understands we're not going to get rate cuts. There's hotter inflation, but it's not going to be enough to thwart this wave, this tidal wave of AI spending.
Yeah, and so far from some of the consumer-facing companies we certainly heard from last week, it looks like things are holding up for now. But as you say, I mean, looking for any of those signs of demand destruction as we continue to look across these fundamentals, particularly across staples. But you mentioned the Trump Xi meeting, and you mentioned NVIDIA, and I think the notable absence in tow with Trump is Jensen Huang. Why are markets, as we approach, of course, the Super Bowl of earnings next week?
Yeah, you know, I'm not a geopolitical analyst. My guess is that there would be fruitful discussions that China would essentially help, speed up the negotiations with Iran. There would be some resolution here because China is so important to Iran, being such a big purchaser of oil, that I think expectations are built in that there's going to be some kind of positive development or movement toward peace talks. It hasn't looked great over the past week or two, and there's even been shots fired. So, if that fails to manifest into some kind of a positive development with Iran, and, God forbid, we start to, see more of that ceasefire begin to basically evaporate, that's going to be challenging for the market. So I think there's the potential for volatility there. The VIX is kind of picking up on that. It's been creeping higher over the past 2 trading days here. And then if we do, I mean, everybody wants peace, I would presume. So hopefully we get something good out of the China meeting there. If not, we go to NVIDIA next week. Regardless of what NVIDIA reports, I think, we have the potential to get basically one of those 5 to 10% over a couple week type of a mean reversion. There's no guarantee. This is just some kind of guess. But, Sam, after we get past NVIDIA, as we've gone through the earnings season, Texas Instruments, Intel, all of these chip companies have gone more fuel to the fire for chips. Now, after NVIDIA, we've got Broadcom, I believe. There's Oracle in June. Yeah. But there's not really enough, we might run out of that catalyst. And so at that point, psychologically, we say, okay, I'm going to take some profits, mean revert. Let's take a breather. So we could see that coming up towards as we end May and head into early June.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to invest. Find a friend, find somebody, go talk to somebody who's already invested, who's is doing this on an average day basis. This is almost their livelihood, because yes, you can get good at stock market to this can be your livelihood. Got to be in there, got to be close up at the numbers, be able to get in, get out, know how to put your money in and there's a lot to it. I'm learning. You willing to learn with me? we can do it together. I'm saying I'm willing to try, and this is my goal, is to show everybody, yet again, this is what we do. And this is just my Kraken portfolio. This is what I was saying. I wanted to see if I can actually get in. I can't. Just to show you guys what I've been tracking. And like I said, I just started. I put a measly, what, $30, $40 in. So I put $40, right? Telling me right here. So I'm down $3. Hit the $40. I'm doing a tremble. All right. Now, it's not to say that I'm doing that. It's because I have certain trades that are actually doing bad. And I need to readjust because I can be up plus $3 on a 9% interest. I really can. But I got to find out which stock markets are doing that so I can get back on that trail. Because if I can, and when I find out how to zoom in, like right here in April, I was above. Right here for a second. April 9th, I was above. So there's been times that I have been above. I have, you know what I'm saying? Well, I was above 6 cents there. Above 5 cents there. To reinvest. And I'm showing y'all. So I'm showing y'all I'm not the best. Showing y'all how what it looks like, what you look like when you invest. And they're showing you hot trending topics, investments. Most bold, and you see everything looks down too. Everything looks down. You got a few over here at pennies on a dollar of interest of investment. And that's another thing to look at too. And I'm learning too, y'all. Trying to get in at pennies on the dollars with a huge investment. This is less than 5 cents with a 94% interest rate. High investments here. Just little pennies. Waiting on enough investors to where they can raise and actually be worth something. And that's where people like me and you and everyday people can get in on a grounds level of investing, buying, on the interest, and investing into the stock. Looking at the portfolio, my portfolio, actually, of what I have actually invested in. Looking at which ones have done what, what my percentages are looking up in. These are more what I want to invest in more, a little bit more. Keep more focusing on because they're in the green. $2 interest, $5 interest. No value. Well, yet again, $20 value, $8 value, $4 value. These are what I have invested in, the outcomes of what I have got out of them. Still got a $20.86 or 86 cents value plus. That 24-hour charge, they're down too. So this is still, even though it looks like this is still worth something out of everything. Notice how when you look at something that looks looks good, it doesn't look how it looks. Everything like why is the chart not going up like everybody else is? But you see, everything's in the plus. Everything's in the green. It looks nice. Global One sources, what they're about. Where's their capital? Their money, their highs, all-time highs at 4,000. What they did in the last 24 hours, their range. We can go over all of this. And I'm either going to fail, and you're going to watch me fail, or we're going to do good, and you're going to watch me do good. Okay? This is going to be a very interesting project for me. I'm very, very excited to do this with you guys. I'm sorry, sir. Hey. My bad. How are you doing? I know I'll be speaking about you too. I know you're doing good over there on Rumble. Appreciate you, Nay. But yes, everybody should invest in stocks. You should do very good. Nay, you should come on my show Friday. I don't know if you've seen the announcement that I have done and stuff like that. I put out an announcement and stuff like that. It's funny. But on Tuesdays I'll be going over AI and stocks. Monday, marijuana, stocks and news. Wednesday, gaming. Thursday is court cases and cop cams. Friday is my politics day. And then Saturday is me and my fiance. We have a couples thing. That is the new schedule. And I'm going to repost it and put it up there for everybody to see on all platforms for everybody to get familiar with the new show and what you're doing. Plus, don't forget the Good Night Capiche, ladies and gentlemen, which is almost every night except for, what is that? I think Saturday. Fridays and Saturdays are my 2 off days of Good Night Capiche. I appreciate it. Everybody stopping through, hanging out, chilling, y'all. This is going to be a very exciting moment. I definitely know to sit down with you. I know you probably got some good tips for me in the audience, so I definitely would like for you to come through anytime. Just let me know. And yeah, we're going to get this cracking, y'all. Let's get them investments. Understand AI, the good in AI and the bad in AI, y'all. It's a two-way street. It's not just all bad. It's just not all good. It just depends on how you want to use and invest in it. I think it can go both ways. I'm definitely going to be investing in it in the stock market way. I'm also going to be invested in it by making movies, cartoons, and etc. and things to myself. Burn Live has a lot to bring, a lot to come. I promise you guys. And with that, I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Anytime that you watch my show, I highly appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. And with that, I would like to say, have a good day.